Now, I always forget. I don't know why I forget. I mean, the developers also announced it. I don't know why. It just kind of slipped my mind when it came to me looking at the early teasers. But coming back, when it comes to looking at Nell and how of an amazing character that she's going to be and how helpful she will be for the slash element. Obviously, she is a battlefield typing of a character. In terms of with where we're going next, with the next team being slash, right? Because Kenpachi right now is kind of, well, I don't know about you guys, but for me, he's number one. And obviously having the best support in the game being Urahara, and then Nell coming along being that new slash battlefield user. I'm sorry, Byakuya, but my boy, you've been dropping the ball. It's time to say sayonara, and we're moving on to the big one, the big league Nell herself. Now, what's interesting about obviously her being a battlefield character is that you could technically say that with slash element, they're getting their own AIZEN. And what do I mean by that? Well, as you guys know, AIZEN as a battlefield user, I mean, he's got multiple battlefield skills, right? You know, so there's a lot on the table for AIZEN, and with his release, you guys saw how insane Spirit got elevated, right? We had Toshiro, who was a fantastic DPS, but there was something missing for us to see the true potential of Toshiro. AIZEN comes along, and hey, it's a done deal. So just to kind of revert back to these videos right here. Obviously, I spoke about how it could be part of the combat skill, etc. Of course, these could also be linked with her battlefield skill. This is 100% going to be battlefield skill. This 100% is going to be battlefield skill. It has been found and said that Nell will have 4 battlefield skills, just like how AIZEN works. She's going to be working in that same manner, hence why I say slash is going to be getting their own AIZEN, as you could say. So again, seeing how AIZEN released and how much he actually helps and elevates Toshiro, that's one of the big reasons why I always revert back to saying on how she's going to help Kenpachi, who is already an amazing character now that he got his buff, right? He's number 1 top tier, call it what you will. Obviously some people will fight their case to say, oh, their Gin's better, but in terms of in my situation, Kenpachi's number 1 without a shadow of a doubt. He is doing the deed in terms of helping me out getting through whatever content I need to get through, excluding the towers, because Jesus Christ, you need the specific typing for those. Christ on a bike. But yeah, coming back to Nell, of course, so she's gonna have 4 battlefield skills, and if we're again going off from what we've already experienced in game with AIZEN and how well he's helped out Toshiro, I would say that Kenpachi is not on Toshiro's level in terms of the issues on hand with how Toshiro has. Because I mean, Toshiro was a great character to begin with, but he wasn't on the level to how Kenpachi is, right? Obviously with Kenpachi, he, even without AIZEN and whatnot, right, I guess on his own, he's again still doing a crazy amount of job, very consistent in terms of getting the big hits out there, way more better than obviously Toshiro. But AIZEN released, we all saw how it ended up with Toshiro, how much of a crack character he was, especially to those that invested into him, i.e. like myself. We've got a phenomenal character helping out the Spirit element, of course, just kind of waiting on a Spirit support, but Momo's doing her job, so can't go wrong with that. So again, coming back to Nell, I think we are most definitely in for a treat in terms of having, in my opinion, the number 1 DPS, then having the number 1 support, and then Nell coming along, which obviously is going to be more favorable towards her team. I don't know if it's going to be universal. I've got my suspicions to say that obviously with AIZEN and how he works, he's probably going to be universal for a long period of time. I think Nell might have some form of universal play, but I think for the most part, and I guess it's kind of like done in a similar fashion of Rangoku, where okay, you can run Rangoku with anyone who's doing abnormal damage, that's fine, but for the most part she is heavily leaning towards her own typing. So I'm gonna suspect to say that that's probably gonna happen, or we're gonna be in the same situation like that with Nell, of course, releasing, where there might be some universal touches here and there. It just really depends on what more she's catering to in terms of supporting on. I mean, if it's crit rate and crit down, if there's crit rate buff going on, that could be the case actually, because technically speaking, Urahara is heavy on the crit damage support, right? As well as the resistance drop, slash damage increase, all that good stuff. Yeah, she could do the opposite end. To be fair, Kenpachi Loki kind of needs it, especially to those that don't have him on B2. Obviously, the stamp itself is given 20%, which is a nice amount. Could do with more, so I'm going to put my money on to say that I think crit rate support is definitely going to be on the table for this character. We'll see what the initial kit is like and see if the investments are worth. To be fair, Urahara's doing just as well with his base kit. I've only got one dupe on him, to be fair, so my man is still doing his duty, his job as he is base. Alright, I've only got, I don't think I've even got his weapon maxed out. Oh no, I've got one dupe. No, I've got no dupes on his weapon, and I think his stamp card's like at +3. So realistically, my Urahara's Loki kind of bare bones. Yet he is still delivering. So if Urahara can hold it down and deliver at such base level, then I suspect Nell will be on that table. But I'm very much eager to see on what the dupes are going to be. I mean, again, at the very least, the first 2 dupes within this game are always clutch. So I suspect something will happen within the first 2 dupes to kind of entice us to pull, I guess, multiple copies. And again, if it is more favorable for Kenpachi, and with how strong Kenpachi is, I might have to lean towards it. Let's be honest. I'm gonna have to lean towards it and give my boy Kenpachi that more damage, because again, he is dishing out way too much more damage. But yeah, I'm very curious on how the multiple levels, because again, something similar to this will be happening on Nell. So I'm very interested to see on how that's gonna work. I mean, it could be the case of us kind of using the beam here. I mean, these are just some of the skills that were found. Obviously, this is the ult for sure. I assume this will be kind of switched up, and this will be the next. Well, the newest ult icon once she's transformed. That's definitely going to be backfoot skill. Maybe that's going to be used in a consistent rotation manner, and then once we build it up, then obviously the brothers will come in. That could be a thing, possibly. I mean, to be fair, that sounds very fitting on what could happen during the battlefield phase, in terms of, you know, there being 4 backfield skills, of course, right? So yeah, something like that I could see working extremely well. But yeah, I think to those that are considering skipping Nell, it might be worth to kind of not. Don't get me wrong, I love my boy Byakuya, but you know for a fact with a battlefield character to that extent, we've seen it only with AIZEN. So we can only imagine how effective this Nell character will be. And this could also go into Ichigo. Now, obviously we can't sleep on Ichigo no longer, purely because they are considering buffing this man's stamp up, which makes him a contender to, well, I mean, he's not exactly gone anywhere, right? Not to say that, you know, oh, he had his time, he's back on the bench warming it up. No, not at all. My man is still putting in the work. And if they do choose to buff him, which I hope they do, then we might, we might have hit the lottery with Nell coming along and doing what she needs to support the team even more. Again, sorry Byakuya, you had your time, but if we're getting a character that is on the same level as how AIZEN works, with the amount of battlefield skill that he has going on, to the extent that he buffs overall characters, but more importantly how further he supports his typing DPS, you can only imagine how much more monstrous this Kenpachi will get alongside Ichigo. So Nell, to those that have got Kenpachi, I don't think there's going to be a skippable one. I mean, at the very least, if we can make Urahara work on base form, then you know for a fact Nell will work base form. Low investment, that is. That's what I mean by base, because again, with my Urahara, I've only got one dupe. I ain't got much going on for him. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Just kind of want to inform you guys that when it comes to Nell, she's basically going to be how AIZEN is set up for battlefield skill. So we're in for a treat. And Slash Element is once again going to be taking the #1 spot until something else happens, and then it will then come back around with Ulquiera releasing being a Slash, and we're back up Slash being #1. God damn it.